water management in the tourism in the Canary Islands. First, a few data on the Canary Islands. We are 8 islands. That makes water management more complicated because we have islands that are almost desert islands, and we have islands with no, we could say, no water problems. So and we receive 15 million tourists every year in the whole archipelago, and the contribution of tourism to GDP is around 35%. Then the Tourism Observatory of the Canary Islands is in charge of this. We have developed, traditionally the observatories are focused in tourist data, tourism statistics, that means tourist flows, accommodation, that kind of tourism. But we are broadening the scope, introducing all these aspects related with sustainability through, as I mentioned before, a partnership between the government of the Canary Islands and the 2 public universities of the islands. Our main message is today that the context of water and also waste management is very important. I mean, we will see later on some figures. We have an island where most water comes from desalination. In fact, we can have all the water we want. It's just an issue of energy, of having enough energy to desalinate water. But water, there is an estimation in the Canary Islands that desalination of water accounts for 10% of the electricity consumption in the Canary Islands. So it's a very intensive energy activity, and that generates another problem of energy consumption. We have an information gap regarding water consumption. In the case of water, we have, as I mentioned, a relationship with the firms that provide water, with some of the firms that provide water in some main tourism municipalities, and we can have access to the consumption of hotels and the consumption of this kind of firms. That is more difficult in the case of waste, for example, where waste is not so differentiated, so not so clear. You cannot have so easily information on individual individual producers. And as I mentioned, there are some opportunities in the case of water through these smart meters. And smart meters allowed us to have information on the consumption of the firms, even the daily or per hour, or you can have everything you need, and you can also one issue I miss in the discussion today, not only the problem is important, to measure is important, but it's also important to make decisions. So that is related with the problem, but we need to have some goals to be able to measure and to make decisions to approach to that goal. The other message I wanted to transmit is related with the methodologies for measurement. We need methodologies. And the other, it's that we find a lack of interest in the destination management organizations, in the tourism firms, in the public sector on the topics of water and waste. The firms are concerned if the price of water rises or the taxes on waste rise. They just have a problem of cost. But if they don't have of course, there are some a part of the tourism firms that are concerned with sustainability, but in general, the main concern of the firms is a financial one. And as I mentioned, we have in our islands banana plantations with a very high consumption of water, and at the same time tourism with that also is an activity using a lot of water. The water comes from three sources mainly: wells and galleries when it's possible, but that this is like a gallery, and for example, in the eastern islands, in Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, and Gran Canaria, mainly the desalination of water and the reuse and purification of water are the main sources. But we do not have in the Canary Island surface water, only quite a little, and it's underground water, the traditional source of water. But in this last decades, desalination of seawater is the main source. Regarding this water context, we have a lack of maintenance of distribution. There is a lot of water losses. We have the issue of competing activities. We have the issue that most of the water, the used water after treatment, not always, but goes to the sea. There is an overexploitation of the aquifer. Desalination is around 90% in Eastern Canary Islands. The energy intensity we mentioned of the desalination of water, and in general, we have a lack of information on the water integral cycle. And in some islands like Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, hotels pay around €5 per cubic meter, what is quite a lot for the water. And regarding the approaches and the methodologies, at least we have to consider if we are analyzing tourism from the demand side, that means from the activities of visitors, but visitors make consumption in the tourism industry and in the rest of the economy, or if we are following a supply approach from the tourism industry that provide services to visitors and to non-visitors. This kind of approach that has been developed in the framework of the tourism satellite account, it's useful in this case to analyze what do we mean with water consumption in tourism. There is an estimation of the Canary Island government on that the tourism accounts for 12% of the water consumption in the Canary Island. But we have using information from this water providers in the firms that provide water in the island, we have make an estimation of 36 cubic hectometers. That is what is the consumption of accommodation, only for the accommodation. Accommodation, the hotels, overnighting hotels make a consumption of around 329 liters, but on self-catering apartment, a little bit less. This is a recent work. There is a lot of water leaks. But anyway, we find that hotels manage better than apartments water. Hotels, I mean, when we have big hotels with a professional management, the water is managed better there than in small accommodation units. We have also made an estimation of the main determinants of water consumption, and we have seen that the age of construction, the location, and renovation are important issues. I mean that, for example, the oldest hotels and the hotels that haven't been renovated are those that make more consumption. And what I have found is that the smart meters are changing and have reduced water consumption by around 10%. The tourism accommodation firms have an online relationship with the firms, and for example, when there is a water leakage, they can control it very quickly. And even having this kind of information, it makes tourism firms more concerned on what is happening with water, and we find that the consumption of water is reduced when the firms have this kind of smart methods. I have mixed my presentation with the topic of waste, but this is what I have more related with water. Unfortunately, I'm not the specialist in water and waste in my team. My colleague Noemi Padron wasn't able to be here, and I'm sure that she knows very, very well what the working of water and waste in the island. But we have done quite, I think, a good, and we continue to researching. But this is not official data. I mean, there is a lack of official. We have provide some official data, but in the case of water, there is not official data related to tourism consumption or something like that. Thank you very much.